Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight news, and reviews on a daily basis. We have a stacked show for you guys today. It's Mailbag Monday, and you know what that means. You guys have sent in some fantastic hot takes, some really controversial hot takes, and we are going to be getting into some of the best ones. It's going to be a fun show, no doubt about it. We got Fernando in the comments. We got I Make Beats in the comments as well, saying he's been rewatching the Rumble. Jacob eliminated Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable, and Andrade in 12 seconds. That is absolutely crazy. But what is also crazy is our panel here today, because, well, earlier on today, right, I did an Instagram post in case you guys haven't seen it, because John Cena has been announced for the European tour, specifically the Raw side of the European tour. So on the road to WrestleMania, he's going to be touring with the Raw crew. He is going to be on Raw 3 weeks in a row. Meanwhile, Cody is going to be on SmackDown those same 3 weeks in a row. So I basically, put one and one together and said, just like I predicted, Cena versus Cody is not happening. And even still, everybody's saying I'm completely and utterly wrong. So I cannot wait to be right about this one. But Clark, I hear you have an interesting thought if that match does actually happen.
If Cena and Cody wrestle at WrestleMania, I will turn my back to the screen and live stream the entire thing. There's no debate about it. I have no desire to watch that match. Never had a desire to watch that match. It's just frustrating that it's possible. Do we call it the Cornflakes match or the Care Bears match? I'm not sure. But if we're going to have two howdy-doody good guys against each other, we might as well just compare Make-A-Wish records and call it a night. Please don't let that happen. But I assure you, I will turn my back to the screen.
Oh my gosh.
If it does.
What happens if you're there, though? Because you might be there.
Yeah, I'm going to turn around the entire time in live stream.
Oh, so in the arena, you'll turn around?
Yep.
Say,
might even go to the concourse. Live stream from the bar. Just listen to the crowd.
Just listen to the crowd. I mean, it might be even funnier if you're just there doing it right in the crowd and everything. Yeah. Just like that. The entire match. That would do crazy numbers. Fernando says it's Cody versus Punk for sure. Well, something really interesting is that Punk isn't advertised for the Raw European tour. So the fact that that is the case suggests that could well be possible. No doubt about it. Archie says he thought you were Cody's biggest fan, Clark.
Yeah, huge, diehard. Everyone knows that.
Massive fan. Are you a massive fan of John Cena too?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
But you're not a fan of either.
No,
that was the joke.
Anyway, I don't like both.
We've also got Spike3Y9 in the chat. Shout out to you. And we have Numero 1 Superfly saying that he saw yesterday's podcast regarding Toni Storm and Mariah May. And he will say this. He agrees with me. 3 stages of hell. Revolution, Mariah May versus Toni Storm. Yes, please inject that into my veins. I would love it. But also joining us today, all the way from Canada, we have Coby Galenzoski. How are you, Coby?
Doing pretty good, of course. We are here for the WR Daily, and it is Mailbag Monday, my own creation that I gotta promote, of course. But it's always a pleasure to be here to talk wrestling. I think there's always things interesting, and I mean, you ribbed us with your owl video about Kevin Owens taking him out too earlier, and that was another thing that you mentioned today. But I think there's a lot of things that could happen, could work. We've seen Cody Rhodes do a couple Netflix Raw Netflix shows, and I mean he was there for one, but he did dark matches for two, I think at least 2 of them. So I mean, I'm not ruling it out. I still think Cody and Cena is your biggest marquee match that you could put on, and it's not like WrestleMania is the week after the European tour ends. It's we have a lot of time. We have 6.
Mm.
We can build. We can play with it.
I think it's only 4, isn't it?
I don't think it'd be tough.
Yeah, Coby, did you invent the light bulb as well? Or was that Thomas Edison?
I wish I did.
But you are right. I've had a field day on the internet today, Coby. Like you said about the owl as well. In case you guys missed it, I said I've got a big scoop, and that big scoop turned out to be that I found a video of who killed Duo the Owl. It was actually Kevin Owens, another name he's violated.
Dang it.
Horrific. But I do agree with you, Coby. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena would be the biggest marquee match they can do. I just don't think they're going to do it, but they probably should. But now let's get into your question, shall we? Because we've got one from JMoney17 who's asking, will Jacob Fatu be a world champion in 2025? Now, will and should, I think, are two different things. Should, I think he should. Quite frankly, I'd send him, after Mania, I'd draft him to Monday Night Raw. I'd have him lead the faction solo, either kicked out or in the background, and then have Jacob Fatu either win King of the Ring or win Money in the Bank, and then win the World Championship at SummerSlam. But the question is, will he, not should he? Clark, will he win it?
Ooh, I'm not 100%, but if I was 100%, I would say no. I think it's early 2026 when he wins the title. I'm on the same exact page as you. I want him to 100%. Do I have faith that that's in the cards? Nope. And that's where I run into trouble. I wish it was the case, because I do think he's strapped the rocket ship to his back. He's the next big thing. And no reference to Brock Lesnar there. No pun intended in the least. He is the next big thing in professional wrestling, and he's already big. People already get it, but he's got star written all over him. He's yet to make a mistake, if that makes any sense. And he really should, but can I hang my hat on for sure? Yes, in 2025. No, Ben, I'm sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am probably closer to agreeing with you on that one. But also, like you said, he hasn't done anything wrong, and I don't think he was brought in to be a top guy.
Right.
But he has already kind of become one. It's nuts.
Stands out. I told that story, I watched it with my buddy Nick and his wife Shannon, who are very casual fans. Their kids love it. They'll watch, the PLEs essentially. But obviously life circumstances come up or whatever, and they've been sort of out of the game. And Nick went to the Rumble with me. As soon as Jacob Fatu's entrance hit, and during his entrance, he hadn't seen Jacob Fatu realistically wrestle a move, maybe more than once. And the first thing, he looked at me and he goes, "Who's this guy?" Because he's a star. And I was like, oh, he's actually kind of on the new side in relation to the rest of the 30 people in the Rumble. And I was blown away by just somebody that's a fan of wrestling enough to understand what's going on, but not enough to know everybody on the product. Jacob stood out before he even did a move, before he wrestled the match. I'm like, yeah, that he's that type of a guy. You can just see it.
He absolutely is. But also, does anybody have any confetti? Because I just won an argument from a year ago, because you just confirmed to me, Clark, a casual fan does exist, and gave me an example of one.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one.
Finally, it's settled. But Coby,
but
what
they're
about
adults. It's
you?
different.
What about you? Will Jacob Fatu be a world champion in 2025?
I mean, normally I'm the guy that goes and plays with words and says X, Y, and Z and says, okay, if will's a different thing than should, normally that's my thing. And I mean, I'm in the same boat. Should he win? I would love for him to be the one to dethrone Jey Uso if Jey Uso dethrones Gunther. I would love that. I would be so excited by it. I've been a Jacob Fatu fan since he was much bigger in size, because he's definitely lost a lot of weight in years. But he was much bigger, and he was a dominant force in Contra and MLW. He is a guy that, of course, like you said, Clark, he is going to stand out. to anyone. He has that, or we all love this. He has the aura. That's a word that people love right now. Um, right now, I don't. That's the thing. If he stays on SmackDown, he's not beating Cody. I mean, it was off. The thing that surprised me from last week is you had the promo. He showed up with Cody Rhodes, and he's getting chants over Cody Rhodes. People were chanting Fatu over instead of Cody, and like that just shows you they got gold right there. They got a lot of they got a lot of money to be made with Jacob Fatu. And it's great. It makes sense that they kind of let him not let him be on the back burner, but not let him be the center focus until it was time for him to be the center focus, and that time is now. He's able to be the honcho. He's able to be the killer, the monster, however you want to view it. He's undoubtedly going to succeed in this business. Will he win gold in 2025? World championship gold. I think it's a no. Should he? I'd love it. I think he should, but I don't think it happens because we know he likes his longer his longer reigns, and I don't think he's dethroning Cody, and I don't know what they'd have to do to get Jacob on Raw and put him in a feud with Jay and all that. I don't think that's the move right now.
Fair enough. I mean, numero one agrees. He says, will Jacob Fatu win gold? Yes. But will it be world title gold? No, but the US or IC, sure. Good point. Test him there. You know, like we tested Jey Uso there this year. We tested Gunther there before then. Fernando says he does think Fatu will be world champion by SummerSlam. Stone Cold was originally not brought in to be a world champion, but fans made him the face of the Attitude Era. Good point. If the fans really do get behind Fatu like they are doing, who knows what will happen? We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, I mean, I do guess it's possible.
Is he going to finish it? Is he going to finish his story and win the title back for his bloodline?
That was like one of the worst things that's ever happened. By the way, Coby, I'm glad you even said that. Finish his story, like, because it's easily the corniest joke you can make about a wrestler overcoming something. You can just immediately be like, "Is he going to finish his story?" Like, it's just so good.
The thing is, that's the thing.
I guess
the meme right. So are they all going to finish them?
Though. That's the thing. That has become the meme. Is this guy finished the story? This girl finished her story. It's became that meme now, and I think that's the funniest thing. I like I said, I don't think he beats Cody because I don't think whoever faces Cody at WrestleMania's got a chance. I think Cody's in his long reign or having his career-defining world title reign right now. And I mean, definitely. Unless he gets put on Raw and he ends up on the same brand as a Jey Uso champion, I think that's what makes sense. It could happen. It makes sense. There's a lot of things that would happen to put that in place, and I just don't know if they go in that direction. I mean, I think it's interesting, and I mean, obviously, I never got to talk about what happened last week on SmackDown on the show itself, but it made sense. We're not, you know what would have happened if Jacob Fatu won the Elimination Chamber qualifier? He would have had to lose the match. He would have had to been pinned.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are going, I've seen a lot of, triple fraud. They're trying to make Priest a thing.
No, I agreed with you.
You realize Jacob Fatu, if he won, would have had to get pinned because he wasn't going to beat and main event WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes. That was a pipe dream.
It's better than Cody Cena, according to Clark.
By a lot.
Archie says Drew McIntyre needs to finish his story.
Oh, look, he does the same thing.
Anyone
he did that. Remember WrestleMania? He did it twice.
Well, yeah, he had to do it with no fans, and the second time, Damian Priest ruined it.
No, CM Punk ruined it.
He did do it with fans last year. But DCX Warlord says CFOs. So that's on the next. Well, I'll read that in just a minute when we get on to that topic. You know what? Let's just get into it right now, shall we? Thank you, DCX Warlord. You've done the perfect transition for us. But the next topic, the next question, I should say, or actually statement, a hot take, is submitted by our very own Soul. Now, very rarely do I actually pick hot takes or questions from our own team, right? But this one was so controversial, I just had to. Because Soul is saying CFO made better music than Jim Johnston. Fight me. Clark, are you going to accept the fight?
I mean, bless your soul, but let's be honest, you wouldn't have typed fight me if you knew it would be me on the other end of the microphone for this question. Let's just be honest with ourselves there. I'm stoked to answer this one because it's important to me. And there's one thing I noticed at the Rumble, and that's that so many entrance songs were unrecognizable. And that's not CFO or Jim Johnston, but it is related to this question. And the difference between the two is this. If you want to have a workout playlist filled with WWE entrance songs, well, then you're going to love the CFO era. If you want recognizable entrance themes, where as soon as the first few chords hit, the entire crowd is very aware of who is coming out and is already actively reacting to it, it's Jim Johnston by miles. By miles. And they're both really talented and both really good. Don't get me wrong. I am not discounting CFO's work. It is very much better than the current stuff we're getting. Absolutely. But the difference is anybody on the roster, mid-card, lower card, upper card, women's division, doesn't matter who you are. In the Jim Johnston era, as soon as their music hit, you knew who it was. You could identify that person by the first sounds of that song. That is not necessarily the case during the CFO era. It's close. It's close. It's closer than what we are getting currently by a lot. But it's Jim Johnston for sure in my eyes because he did his job the best, which is to make the superstars recognizable. The point of entrance music is not for you to enjoy listening to it. It's for you to be aware of what is happening next in the context of a wrestling show. And if that's the case, it's Johnston.
I mean, that's a very controversial sentence, which I'm going to be honest with you, Clark, I do agree with it. What you said, it's not meant to be for your listening enjoyment. It's meant to identify the superstar. And I say the same thing at times about wrestling gear and stuff like that because, identity and understanding them just based on the sound, based on their look, without the commentators, needing to tell a story, without you knowing anything about wrestling. You take one look at them, you listen to their entrance as they come out, and you're drawn in. You know who they are and what they're doing. If you meant to cheer them, if you meant to boo them based off just that. Undertaker's a perfect example. And who was that? Jim Johnston.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the Johnston playlist, the Rolodex of absolute songs that The Godfather is the perfect example. Yeah. The Godfather is not a song you're going to play on your iPod or your iPhone or your Walkman or anything. If you're buying the disc to play the Godfather song, it's maybe to play it like once for your friends as a joke. But the reality of it is when that song played, you knew exactly who it was and you understood what was going on. And it's razor thin because I think CFO would be the second best in my eyes when it comes to this game. I mean, Undisputed Era, right? Iconic. Shock. And that's CFO, right? He did a great job, or they did. It's a group, right? They did a great job as well.
CFO dollars,
but but at the same time, Johnston, it just was every single one you knew. Now, also at that time, I get it. It's before the outset of the previous related stuff that I meant. Like earlier, right? You couldn't just download songs. You had to go buy the disc, right? To listen to them during the Johnston era. But you wouldn't have realistically. And Eric, no, I'm not dissing the Ho Train. I thought it was one of Johnston's best work because it absolutely
the beat drop,
completely. You were very aware of what was going to happen next, and I think that's important. I think when it comes to entrance music and relation to professional wrestling, the biggest factor is it needs to make the star recognizable. There were numerous songs during the Rumble that For me, they would play for the entrance, and I wasn't entirely sure who it was until they flashed their name on the screen. And that's not how it should go. That
I
is
think
not the
Def
order it should
Rebel,
happen.
unless you're Roman Reigns or a couple of others, right? I think they do nobody has been as consistent as Jim Johnston. That is what I will say. Every single one of his themes made sense, right? CFOs, whether or not the theme necessarily made sense, they were pretty much always a great song. Sometimes, most of the time, it would work for a wrestler. Sometimes it wouldn't.
Right.
With Def Rebel, they've had a couple of phenomenal ones, and the rest have been horrific. They've been the least consistent by absolute miles.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Like To the Moon, the why am I blanking on his name from NXT?
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes. Thank you so much. That was CFO, right? Like
yeah,
that.
I believe
that
so.
kind
I
of
believe
stuff
that was one of their last
excellent.
No, that would not have been that would not. I don't think that was.
Well, I'll
That
find that out for a
CFO.
second. But Coby, I could see you shaking your head there. Defend Def Rebel for a second.
I mean, as a whole, I just think Def Rebel gets a lot of overhate, and I think there is a lot of themes that are. I'm not going to sit here and act like there's a lot. There's everything's good, and not everything's good that they give out. But I think they get a lot of overhate because a lot of the top themes right now are Def Rebels. Roman Reigns, Io Skies, Seth Rollins. There's a lot of Karrion Kross's was the second we heard Karrion Kross's theme, we went, wait until that's at a WrestleMania. Like there's so many themes where we can sit here and say, yeah, Def Rebel succeeded in that sense. But there are there are a handful and a lot of bad ones. And we saw that. We saw that at the Rumble. Like no one knew Finn Balor was showing up, mainly because he used it twice before the Rumble, and now it's like that to me is as big of a factor as the theme not being.
When everybody just wanted to,
he's used it twice. They did change it and get rid of the great the flash that they normally do with Finn Balor, but like there's a lot of themes that I do think aren't great, but I do.
Coby, we've all seen your Spotify though. We've all seen your Spotify. We know that you listen to all of it.
Post Malone. Yeah, it's Post Malone.
No, it's all themes.
No, it's not.
But
90% themes.
But no, in all seriousness, you are right about Cameron Grimes. That is one of their good ones. Seth Rollins, they can't take credit for. They've mashed together versions of his theme before they got there. They can't just take credit for remixing CFO's one, right? Roman Reigns was a bang.
I agree with this right here. Love Johnston. It did its job. Simplistic but highly recognizable.
Exactly
yes.
what it's meant to do.
And that's the point. 100%.
Absolutely.
I do think I was going to say I do think it is a reach for Jim Johnston to say everything was recognizable. There's definitely going to be some of them that you can find that weren't.
Coby, you're like 14 years old. You didn't even hear them play.
Yeah, I did.
When? In the 1999? When Johnston was in his prime? Or were you -2?
Right. Let me find for a second, right, a list. Okay, we are. I found a Reddit thread. What are some of Jim Johnston's misses? There was a Billy Gunn theme, Layla L's theme.
Billy Gunn, that's the Ass Man.
No, his original one before that.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't very good.
And everybody's just saying those two.
Yeah, but he got it right on the next one.
There's two misses. Meanwhile, Def Rebel, we are looking for hits quicker than misses. I just read through the entire thread. It's just the same two over and over again people are mentioning.
One thread. You're trusting one
It's got
person?
90 plus comments on Reddit. Must be true.
Coby, music-wise, nobody didn't know who was coming out. You didn't. It's not about liking the songs or not. It's about the fact that the
only person I didn't know this year's Royal Rumble was Raquel Rodriguez.
I can tell you right now.
No. I honestly struggled. I struggled knowing
the entire show. That's about.
And I watch all their content.
That also shows your knowledge of the current music. My point is, you enjoy entrance music like that. I listen to like a wide variety of music. Generally, entrance music I'm not gonna play like on my ever.
Music.
Okay. All right.
I listened to it.
I
when
will
it's on
say
a
this
wrestling
though,
program.
Coby. It was a very, very common complaint following the Royal Rumble that
No,
the
it
themes
is
were not
100%.
recognizable.
It is the only
And a
one I'll
valid
sit
one.
here-
The arena
the
didn't know
only
who
one
anybody
I
was.
will- the only thing I would put my stamp on from this year's Rumble was the Raquel Rodriguez. and
As
Finn
a guy
Balor.
that was in the arena, let me tell
I
you,
can't sit here and say there weren't recognizable themes
If it
outside
was-
of that.
if it was 70,000
For
Kobe's,
myself.
it would have been louder than it was for sure. Because half the themes nobody recognized as a guy that was there.
Nobody knew.
We had
anything.
70,000
Okay,
Kobe's.
actually, no, that is wrong. Raquel
to the
Rodriguez and Jada Parker. Those were the two that were bad for me.
Balor. There's so many.
Balor
And
too,
I think-
but
I think it'd
that's,
be
I can't
easier
count
to
that twice
find.
because it was one.
There's
The same
Logan
theme,
Paul.
right?
Logan Paul, no one knew
Oh,
who it was.
He's got a new theme every other
Oh,
minute.
the
No
new
one
one's
in the
terrible,
other knew
but
who
you
it
know
was.
it's Logan Paul as soon as you hear the
Nope.
AO.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as
He
soon as
changes
they
it
flashed his
every
name
other
on the
minute.
screen, we knew.
I made
And
a
same with
meme
the other
about it because I couldn't
70,000 in the
remember.
building. It was like,
I
who's
think-
this?
I think some of the debuts themes were more of a recognizable, despite the fact we hadn't heard them before. DCX
Joe Hendry
Warlock.
was the most recognizable theme, and that has nothing to do with anything with WWE themes.
You're not wrong. That's you're not
that's-
wrong.
that's
not even
him.
close.
No.
DCX
Mikey
Warlord
Ruckus.
says,
Mikey Ruckus gets away with the same stuff. that
no,
Jeff
okay,
Hardy
I'm
gets away for.
defending. Shaw dissed him the other day. I'm jumping back. I'm defending Mikey Ruckus again, right? I do think he's slightly overrated, but he is so much better than Def Rebel. Don't
Yes.
compare the two.
Way
He
better.
he gets away with the same stuff people hate Def Rebel for. And that's
he
looping
does.
things. He does.
Oh, he loops things. Why not? So did Jim Johnston, though. He looped things.
Yeah, but that's one of the common
Kobe.
complaint about Def Rebel of being
No,
such a
the
short
Def
team.
Rebel complaint is
and-
they don't fit the
No,
character
it's
at
not.
all.
There's more complaints than one surrounding Def Rebel, and I'll acknowledge that, and I do, and I am.
Yeah,
gonna
no,
acknowledge
it was just actually just me and Ben. You're right.
Yeah.
We needed the
Well-
acknowledgement for that. Like what? It's
Well-
been complained about for months.
I know it has, and I'm not sitting there saying it hasn't.
So we needed that stamp of approval real bad.
but
Eric
I'm not-
agrees with
No,
us.
but the thing. Oh, the new one is pretty bad. But like to sit here and say you can't recognize Logan Paul's when you knew it was the AO and like the caw, that's recognizable to me.
Mm.
That's someone who's listened to Logan Paul's theme a couple
Yeah,
times.
The whole
But
arena
like
had no clue.
that
though.
at least is better than
You're right. Just
No,
70,000 people in Lucas Oil Stadium had no idea who it was.
Not a big enough test sample.
Not until they flashed his name on the
Jesse
screen.
Hyde said, why did the WWE Universe want CFOs and Jim Johnston back now? It's very simple. It's just
No.
because Def Rebel sucks. But
I think
anyway,
he was
let's now
actually
move
asking
on.
that sarcastically in argument against, like, but why do they? I think that's why that was the thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. I agree then. But something else me and Clark agree on is our love for Progress Wrestling. And they have another event this weekend as well. They are just event after event right now. It's fantastic. You guys are getting your money's worth on Demand Progress Plus. Now, if you guys don't know what Demand Progress Plus is, it is the home of Progress, Defy Wrestling, and more. It is a fantastic streaming service. Personally, my favorite wrestling streaming service, and I don't say that lightly. And you can use code What'sProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. Support indie wrestling, no doubt about it. Now, next question, because we were just heated. I'm going to get heated again. This one is from Argai Empire. I'm sorry, I think I completely botched your name. I don't know.
Argyle?
But it's not Argyle. I was going to say Argyle, but it's not. But at least it would make sense, if you
Yeah.
supported Plymouth.
Diamond-themed
But-
sweaters.
Argay Empire. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
Somebody asked
his-
a question.
He asked a question. He actually didn't even ask a question. He said a statement. And it is quite frankly one of the most stupid statements I have seen in a long, long while. Because he is saying AJ Styles is no longer reliable on having a great match. Firstly, every major match he's had over the last few years has been pretty much a banger, minus maybe the one with LA Knight. But let's also face it, LA Knight ain't the greatest in the ring.
Oh, come
But
on.
AJ
that one was
Styles,
good.
no, he's had a few good matches, right? But let's be real here. He's not anything special. He needs,
No, to be
it
fair,
takes
I
two to
really liked the
tango.
main event, the Mania match. I did really like that one.
Okay, well, maybe you're in the minority on that one. But my point is, back to the rant. The point is, AJ Styles is a fantastic wrestler. He's one of the best wrestlers in the business. He went his entire career with only just a couple of injuries, and they were all minor ones up until the last couple of years. He's getting older now. He's had a few big injuries, so he hasn't wrestled that much. But when he has wrestled, he's delivered. So why, oh why can you jump to this conclusion that he is no longer reliable in the ring? It is pure stupidness to me. Thank you for the submission. No thank you for that take. Coby, do you disagree with me?
No, I mean, if I'm humoring the conversation, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for AJ Styles to be WWE's Will Ospreay, no, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get AJ Styles who could do what he did 20 years ago. You're not. And I don't, but the thing is, we don't need that. The fact of the matter is that I can't sit here and go, look at what AJ Styles did last year. Okay, he was in a great fatal 4-way at last year's Rumble with Randy LA Knight and Roman Reigns. He had the match with LA Knight at WrestleMania, which I thought was which was as consistent and as good as the rest of the matches on that show. There were worse matches on the weekend itself. He had his 2 matches with Cody Rhodes, and then he had the match where he got hurt. Like, those are the only ones I can sit here and go, okay, well, those are the ones he had, and he got hurt in one of them, but delivered in everything else. To say reliable it's unfathomable to me. AJ Styles isn't in a position where he's going out to the ring and not performing a good match. There is more equity and there is more stake in the take that John Cena is less reliable than AJ Styles right now, because we've not seen a lot of good stuff from Cena in the last few years. I can't sit here and say AJ Styles has been disappointing. I'm not getting the AJ Styles 20 years ago, but I don't need the AJ Styles of 20 years ago in today's day and age. AJ Styles is performing. He looks good. He looks yoked, and he looked yoked when he returned last year, and he looks good and he looks healthy. And yes, we know he's getting older, but I'm not going to sit here and go AJ Styles is not performing to a standard that was 10, 20 years ago, but he's still performing at a high standard. He showed that with the Cody Rhodes matches. He showed that with his work with LA Knight. And aside from the injury, I can't sit here and go, even in 2024, AJ Styles was in any position where he underdelivered anything. He is very much still reliable. That puts it to bed. He is.
Yeah, I absolutely wholeheartedly do agree with you there, Coby. I mean, we've disagreed on a lot today. This one, I 100% agree with you, and you came with receipts. I actually almost forgot about the Cody matches too. He literally had a banger feud. Like in this past year. I don't understand it at all.
To be fair, like, I know, like, it was one of the first 5-star matches from Uncle Dave in a long time. But I mean, I don't agree with AJ and Cody from France being a 5-star match, but it was a really good match.
It was a banger.
I think it's unfair the way that we talk about athletes this way often. Like, you look at Randy Orton, we look at a number of people in the industry when we think about it, and not everybody's coming back from a major injury, but mileage is a factor as well. And if you're not wrestling and you're rehabbing, you're losing less miles. So we look at the age thing often. We lose sight of things like that. You can recover from injury and return to previous form, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I think, is AJ Styles still reliable? Yeah. If you have that much work under your belt, the answer is just simply yes.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's a great point. Like, and talking about age, Goodfellow 1422 said Jim Johnston is 72. Not sure really why anybody wants him back. LA Knight 73, and people want him on their screens. So I don't really think that's much of a concern. But
And we're back to this.
He's 157.
Well, looping it back round, people. Oh, just like Death Rebel. But that takes us to our final question of the day. And it's from Spike3Y9, who is asking you, Clark, are you Argyle?
No. That would I'm wearing.
He's not. He's an Arsenal fan too.
That
But for context, Argyle, it's a football team here in the UK, Plymouth Argyle. But
no, I'm not.
But let's now move on to talk about the actual last question, which is from Scott Eason, 12, mustn't forget the 12, who is asking or saying Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39 is the best women's match in WWE history. Now, honestly, this isn't a bad call. This isn't a bad claim at all. In fact, out of all the hot takes we've had today, I actually think this is probably the least hot one. I think you could easily make that argument, but I won't. I personally believe the best women's match in WWE history goes to Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, WrestleMania. The crowd were crying. They were crying at the start. It was so emotional. And then the bell rang and they had a banger. They tore the house down. I was on the edge of my seat. It was terrific. I was invested. It was a moment, and I love moments in professional wrestling. I love story. This had it all. It was fantastic. So for me, I'd say that is my personal favorite match. But Coby, what is yours?
I mean, it's a tough one. And that's the thing. And we were notably there for 39 and seeing that. And obviously, there's been some things that would be like, oh, maybe it wasn't as good on the for the televised audience. But there's a lot of people that really love that match. And I don't disagree with that. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley was a banger, and it was 100% a really good match. Phenomenal match. It's a very memorable match, but it's one of the ones where I can't sit here and say I've rewatched it. I don't want to potentially ruin it for being there live and all that. But I can sit here and say on any given day I could argue that. I could also argue against it. To me, the better, not of the better. But to me, I further enjoyed Bianca and Becky a lot more than I enjoyed Bianca and Sasha Banks.
Wow.
Myself, that's one that stands out. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, peeling back the curtain, I wasn't the PLE guy for WR at that point, but that it very much should be a 5-star match. I don't know if Bianca and Sasha would have gotten 5. Looking back at it, I haven't seen it on our current system. I'm saying I don't know if it would have, but I mean, there's so many good wrestling matches that we can look back on, and that's I think the beauty of this.
So, what is your final answer?
Oh, for the question of Charlotte?
No, what is the best?
What's the best WWE women's match? That's the whole question.
Well, the whole question is Charlotte and Rhea the best match?
You didn't answer the bracket I put. The note I put in the private in the chat.
Yeah, and that's
if not, what is the best match?
That's if not.
Yeah.
Or is it that one?
That's not the question. The question was
stop arguing whether it's a question or an answer.
What is the answer? What is your final answer, Coby? The buzzer's going.
I could go either way. Well, that's the thing. I can go either way on any given day.
Oh,
that's what you deserve after all this burying today.
Clark,
I have a real answer. Okay, so for me, the honorable mention, second place, is Bayley against Sasha Banks in Brooklyn at TakeOver. I think that's as important to women's wrestling as almost anything, but I will say this. I'm going to send this one back to 2004. And it's the main event of Monday Night Raw. It's Lita versus Trish Stratus. The heel work you saw from Trish Stratus in that match is off the charts. The risks that Lita took in that match are off the charts. It's amazing from start to finish, and they delivered in a spot where they were the first. Lita and Trish were the very first to gain that opportunity to be two women to main event a Monday Night Raw. And not only did they deliver, they over-delivered. It's a great match. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But I do have to give that honorable mention to Bayley and Sasha because I think that's important too. In the history of women's wrestling, and especially the modern era of women's wrestling, of course, we have Evolution and all of these great things. And it's getting better. It's gotten better. There's great matches out there. But at the end of the day, I can't deny the original Lita Trish 04 Monday Night Raw main event in December.
Well, we got quite a few people agreeing with you out of the gates, Clark. Eric Rodriguez agrees. Fernando says that's a real good one he forgot all about. Marco says Becky Charlotte, last woman standing.
Heck of a match, by the way, Marco.
Absolutely.
That is a heck of a match.
And I also like Fernando's other shout. Sasha Banks versus Becky, Hell in a Cell. I mentioned that to Clark actually pre-show. As well when we were discussing this. Bayley and Sasha undoubtedly changed the game in NXT. Archie saying the same thing as well. A great few options. Eric saying we broke Coby. But
sorry, Coby.
One day we'll find.
Love.
You know
Don't
what?
love.
Next podcast, Coby, we are on. Your intro question is going to be, what's the best women's match of all time? Best WWE
But,
match of all
finally get
time.
the answer.
I mean, that my original point is there's so many matches you can pick. though. That's the thing.
But which one are you going to pick?
Pick one.
I don't have one I can randomly pick at any given time.
The question
There are
was,
matches that I
sent
prefer
you
on
the
different days.
point
topics
was
earlier.
to pick one.
Yeah, you did. And I'm not
The
saying you
whole
didn't.
entire point was to pick one.
No, the entire point was Charlotte and Rhea the best?
You see
women's
the
match of all
graphic,
time?
Coby, how it says WWE's best women's match.
And that's against what was sent in from us.
No,
on Mailbag
in the
Monday.
actual
On our
chat,
Instagram
right?
page.
In
It's
the
there.
actual chat, I sent the quote from the person. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39 is the best women's match in
That's
WWE
the hot
history.
take we're
Then
reacting
I
to.
added a bracket.
Yeah, but that's
If
the
not,
question.
what is the best match?
If it's not that one,
and that's
pick
what you
another
added.
one.
That's not what was submitted. We're on Mailbag Monday, and we're talking about what's submitted, not what's added from your ass.
Coby.
Oh my, Kobe's taking back his invention. Mailbag
I love
Monday.
this Archie Coby with the cliffhanger. I'm all for it.
I'm talking about what was submitted, not what was added. Get out of here.
I am literally chomping at the bit to find out which match you think is the best.
I want to know. You'll have to tune in next time, guys. Thank you
losing my
so
mind.
much for watching. Thank you, Clark, and thank you, Coby, for joining me here today. And thank you to everybody commenting throughout. We will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow to talk some Monday Night Raw. See you guys then. Have a great day. Ba 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 ba